Let's now go over using the intake form. So intake form is really, really useful for PT, and it's so overlooked. And I talk about this all the time with all my students. And if people use the intake form properly, it literally sets up your sales process from the beginning. It gives you all the information you need to know about the client to close sales. Okay, so first one is personalization matters. Now, with the intake form, we want to understand the following: health history, goals, schedule and demands, and getting that into actionable data for programs. So a lot of people don't look for this. They just go, oh, yeah, cool, whatever. We need to go through it and kind of study it before we see the client to identify what's going on. Because, for example, if they have lower back pain, we can then start tailoring the assessment to that. We can explain how different things in the assessment relate to their low back pain. We can talk about specific exercises that might be good for their unique presentation of low back pain. There's a ton of different variables there. If they have type 2 diabetes or polycystic ovarian syndrome, a type of insulin sensitivity, we can then jump on those things as well and explain how those things can be affected by what we do. And as soon as you do that, what you're basically doing is you're tailoring your program as a solution to their problem, which is, this is kind of like a cheat sheet to actually making the sale. So with the medical conditions, injuries, and tailored programs, basically what I just said allows you to do that. It allows you to prepare in advance. And when you do that, it looks really, really impressive because a lot of coaches, when they get someone come in, they'll just basically go, cool, let's do a deadlift day. Oh, I don't really want to deadlift, my back hurts. Oh, really? Yeah, put an intake form. Immediately, you've lost the sale. Or you have to be very, very good at sales to get that sale back again. So in most cases, you need to go over that intake form. Now from there, aligning exercise with goals. So when you're giving a client an exercise, if you can align it with their goals, you're going to do so much better with that. If the goal is fat loss, each exercise helps with fat loss. If the goal is muscle gain, each exercise helps with muscle gain. You get the drift of what I'm trying to say here. So we want to kind of really tie in the value of what exercise we've given to that particular goal. And if you do that, then it's going to be happy days for everyone. And then beyond the gym, we can actually start looking at different ways that we can adapt to their schedule and demands, because the saying is everyone has 24 hours a day. Well, no one's 24 hours look the same. So we need to basically tailor their training, their nutrition, everything to what their lifestyle is and what they have going on. And we can anticipate obstacles. It means that we can have proactive solutions. The client thinks that you're thinking about them, of course you are, and they then believe and trust in you that you can solve their issues. And then with that, you want to kind of really look at it's basically the story of the client, their aspirations and their barriers. Okay, so this is what they achieve. These are the things in the way. So you can use that in your first session. All right, Paul, you come in today and I can see that you want to lose 10 kilos. Awesome. You want to do that. Why do you want to do that? And I'll say why. All right, cool. So you want to lose 10 kilos. Now, these are the things that are in the way that are stopping you that we need to deal with. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've had low back pain before. You've got X, Y, Z condition, and you really struggle with time. Does that sound accurate? Have I got it locked on? Okay, cool. So what we're going to do over the next 2 sessions is I'm going to show you exactly how we can work with your back pain, how we can give you some exercises to help with your blood sugar regulation, and how we can do that in a time-effective way, and then what nutrition strategies we can put with that so we can actually lose those 5 to 10 kilos in the time you want. Does that sound like exactly what you're after? Yes. Awesome. Let's get started. And that process there is so impressive to most clients because no one does it. So real key takeaways. We need to look at the intake form, make it better. Okay, we want everyone to start doing that. Look at your intake form, make sure it's perfect, use the Ascend intake forms. When you're looking at the intake form, try and actually ask better questions in your consult process to get more about it, and basically keep the intake form going throughout their journey, because you want to mark off that someone hasn't actually, that doesn't have back pain anymore, because then you can ask them for that testimonial, and then you can leverage that in your social media content to get more clients. So really, really good, guys. Any questions, please let me know, and speak soon.